So, Hare Krishna. So, we are discussing chapter 3, Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. And chapter 3 is Karma Yoga, verse number 20. Karmanaivahi samsiddhim ashita janakadayah lokashangraham evapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. One second, I just close the door. Keep this door closed, Prabhupada. Don't go all in there. Okay. So the verse, the translation by Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, kings such as Janaka attained perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Right. So we have been discussing about how a devotee should be a role model in the society. So Srila Prabhupada often says that we should behave like a gentleman. If it is a lady, of course, very nice, chaste lady. But generally speaking, Srila Prabhupada encouraged everyone to behave in such a way that others can be inspired and impressed and they can follow in our footsteps. So that means we are following in the footsteps of great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada and then his guru and then his guru, and going up to Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Chaitanya, and then finally going up to Lord Krishna himself, correct? So we are following Krishna's teaching through acharyas. So Gauranga Mahaprabhu was the one who inaugurated Sankirtan movement. That means chanting of Hare Krishna, even though it's not that he discovered in the sense it's not he created that, it was already there. But in one sense, of course, Krishna only created everything. Even that Maha Mantra also created by Krishna, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna are one and the same. But what I'm trying to say is, even before 5,000 years ago, Lord Brahma and Narada Muni, between them, between these two, there was a conversation. Narada Muni asked what is good for this Kali Yuga people, because they are very degraded. Their consciousness is very low, and their performance, the actions and their activities, their thinking, willing, feeling, everything is on low grade, correct? Then how can they be delivered? If you're in higher consciousness, like God consciousness, if you're in mode of goodness, then there are higher chances that we will be able to cross over this material ocean. That means what? That means we will be able to be liberated and don't need to take birth again and again in this material world. But the problem is, we are all focused on our own sense gratification. What makes me happy? What makes my loved ones happy? And that will be definitely not in terms with any God consciousness. It would be more like sense gratification. So I would like to watch this. I like to spend money on in this so I can be more happy. Even though we don't need many things, we still spend time on. I mean, sorry. If even though we don't need many things, we still spend money on those things, and then later we regret, or later we don't even use, or we don't even remember only whether we bought that or not. Sometimes if we clean the house only, then we will realize. And when I was cleaning our house, like when we moved house from Milton to near the temple, I could see myself, like, even though we knew we will be moving anyway, so therefore we didn't accumulate many things, but still there were so many things. Then I was thinking, wow, simple living is really good. When you keep things simple and also less material things, means it's light, you feel really light. And here Krishna is giving an example. Sometimes, if the teacher is giving you a class, and if the teacher is giving you an example to compare what she is trying to explain, it will make more sense to us. So for Krishna is also very clever, understood Arjuna's the desire of knowing about some case studies, like, has anyone been successful doing karma yoga and succeeded in their life in the path of liberation? Then Krishna, yes, of course, the Janaka Maharaj, Mother Sita's father, has done that. And he has performed his prescribed duties as a father, as a king, as a husband. He did everything perfectly well. And he is father-in-law of Sri Ramchandra. So that gives us a very good example. Oh, really? Yeah, that is true. And see, remember, it's not that, oh, he is a great king, he had all the facilities. Of course, he could do whatever he wanted to do. So he easily practiced Krishna consciousness or Rama consciousness in another sense. But actually, see, even though we have a lot of material opulence, it doesn't necessarily mean we become God conscious, correct? Especially when we have so much of material opulence, that's when we our mind will get degraded because you have everything. So whatever you want, a big house, comfortable bed, loved ones, and everything you have, then what does that mean is you don't need to search for anything, right? So if someone is in a miserable position, if someone don't have friends, someone don't have uh, living the place of dwelling, the no food. 2 days ago, no, yesterday I was serving in the reception in the temple, and there was a man rang and asked when will the food be served again, because temple here Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir always serves food, right? It used to serve like 7 times a day. And this man was homeless and he doesn't have any money, he doesn't go to work. Apparently he doesn't have food either. So it seems like, it appears to be, he used to come to the temple regularly to eat only, for just for eating. He was not practicing any God consciousness, but he was just coming to the temple for eating. It is all right because still it is purifying, so it is good still. So he rang me and asked, and I said, look, because of COVID restriction, it hasn't become normal again. But from yesterday afternoon or day before yesterday afternoon, they started to serve lunch only. But other food is little bit not like really wide to the public yet, but started to serve the lunch prasadam to the public who booked for the darshan, who come for darshan, they can just take the prasadam. So this man rang and asked, and he sounded like he's not, no, he's not Indian. He is apparently some Westerner, and because of the accent, I'm telling you. And then I said, look, today you can come, but you need to book appointment, like darshan appointment, and then you can take food. And then he asked about the details, and I gave. And then he said, look, I haven't had food for the last 2 days. I'm hungry. And I was like, oh, Krishna. See, Krishna is the father of everybody, and he is giving food, nourishment, everything to one who is in need. But what happens is we turn away our face and we reject his offer, and then we suffer. We still know there are so many of homeless people within Melbourne only. They are still struggling and they don't know there is an existence of this so and so temple who is offering free food to everybody. They don't know, and they continue to suffer. And one may question, because they don't know, but that is because of their powerful bad karmic reaction happening. They can't even realize there is such nice things around them, around them. Like for example, if they take, most of the homeless I have seen in the city side, right? And if they take like one tram, and it's just 10-15 minutes away, and then there you go, you get opulent prasadam. But they don't know, because of their bad karma, they still haven't cleared that. The cloud is still there, which is stopping them from seeing Krishna. Nevertheless, devotees of Krishna approaching, they are role models, right? They wanted to give Krishna to others. Therefore, they are approaching, they are doing a lot of Harinams. Even my next door neighbor, there is a Mataji devotee, very nice devotee, and she goes out to the streets and sings Hare Krishna Kirtan very nicely. So she can give that seeds to everybody. So that is again another role model example. We don't have to go back to case studies like Janaka Maharaj or Krishna or Ramachandra. And even though they had so much opulence, they could have used their money, wealth, fame, beauty, everything for different purposes, for sense gratification, but they did not do that. They only utilized everything, like Ambarish Maharaj, who utilized all his senses in serving Lord Krishna only, like eyes to see Krishna's deity form, and mouth to sing or eat prasadam, tongue to vibrate his the holy names, and ears to hear about Krishna, and hands to embrace devotees of Krishna or sweep the temple floors. It's like that, legs to walk to the temple. Like that, so many descriptions given by by acharyas about so many devotees. Like Tukaram, he actually helped preach Krishna's Krishna consciousness to others in that time when he was living. So that's all we needed to do at that time, place, circumstance, wherever we are in. We try to give God conscious to others. And we back up ourselves by reading shastras like Bhagavad Gita. This verse 21 is very important. Yad acharati shreshta tat tat evataro janah sayad pramanam gurute logas tat anuvartate. Translation: whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. We discussed this already. So here Krishna will tell that he himself is doing that, because great people do, common people follow, correct? Because we follow the leaders. For a politician, if he is doing a bad thing, and his followers will also do the bad thing, so therefore we have to choose the right candidate, right leader who you want to follow, and then you will be going in the right path. Otherwise the leader himself blind, and if we are also blind spiritually, he is also blind, then where will we go? We end up in the dungeon only, right? The next verse, 22. Name partasti kartavyam trishilogeshu kinchana nana nanavaptam avaptavyam varta eva cha karmani. O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. So, in this verse, it is clear that Krishna is talking about himself, that he himself does karma yoga. That is what he is implying, correct? And even though karma yoga is not the topmost yoga, but nevertheless, it's better than jnana yoga or ashtanga yoga. That's very important, right? Because not everybody can do jnana yoga or ashtanga yoga. Anyone, not everyone can be jnani or yogi. Yogi in the sense ashtanga yogi. So why? Because this environment, especially in Kali Yuga, what to speak of Kali Yuga, even 5,000 years ago, Krishna, when suggesting to Arjuna what yoga he can do, he said, even that time also, he said it's not easy to do those jnana yoga practice or ashtanga yoga practice in that period of time. Then what to speak of this period of time, that is Kali Yuga, which is always in the position of degraded position compared to any other yugas in the yuga cycle, like Satya or Treta or Dwapara. So the best practice would be to start with Karma Yoga and then Nishkama Karma Yoga. That Karma Yoga itself should be Niskama Karma Yoga. That means not attaching to results or activities, but offering the results to Krishna only. That is very top level Karma Yoga. That is Niskama Karma Yoga. But gradually we should be keeping everything in mind, that is Krishna consciousness, that is keeping Krishna in the center of our karmic duties, whatever we are doing. It is not wrong to be a karmi as long as your activities and the results of your activities are dovetailed in Krishna consciousness activities. Not sometimes you cannot directly do Krishna consciousness activity like God conscious activity. So I am working in the laptop to build a software, for example. I'm not doing that anyway. I'm not a software person, but I'm just giving you an example. I'm doing that, but that has nothing to do with God consciousness. But I'm developing that so I can submit it to my project manager, for example, so I can get some whatever, promotion or bonus or whatever. Then I can from the result receive, I can utilize that in Krishna consciousness. But just buying vegetables and then cooking vegetables, offering to Krishna, something simple like that. Or getting, for example, putting the child in martial arts, so that martial arts can, teach him nice defensive techniques, and then he can utilize that when he is in trouble, when he is doing harina in the streets, when he grows up and someone attacks him, he can defend himself, something like that. In everything we can connect. It is itta vairagyam, okay? Everything whatever you do, you are connecting that to Krishna. That is simple, that is karma yoga. All, everything is activity, right? Whatever you do or not do, that all uh, part of activities. There is nothing as inactiveness, because we can't be inactive. That also we discussed in earlier verses.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you said that whatever we do, we have to devote or think in mind that we are doing at the name of Krishna.
Mm.
How can we do each and every activity and devote that, keeping the thing in mind, like Krishna keeping in mind? Because when we do that activity, we think about ourselves.
Yes, yes. Initially, because we haven't practicing our mind, we will not be able to do that immediately. But the first thing we can do is by chanting loudly. Just chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and hearing that Maha Mantra by ourselves, that will be the first step moving forward. And then second step would be offering boga. Boga means any food. That is, if you think you cannot skip onion garlic, you have to use, then it's okay, you eat that, but do not offer that to Krishna. But what you could do is offer some fruits or nuts or milk or anything homemade, whatever you are going to eat, just offer that to Krishna. That means when you're going to cook, and you will be offering to Krishna, and you'll be wondering, because you will not be tasting the food, right? So you'll be thinking, how will it be, so whether it will be too spicy or too salty. Then you'll be conscious, you want to make sure you don't want to mess up this food that you're cooking for Krishna. So that is
Yeah.
Krishna consciousness. You are conscious of Krishna when cooking, because you want to make sure you bring best out of you, the result of cooking you should be best. Then
Yeah.
you are thinking about that. That is Krishna consciousness. And when you offer the food, it becomes prasadam, and you are eating Krishna prasadam. You're offering, you're eating, even before eating, thanks to Krishna prasadam. Just say simply, thanks to Krishna prasadam, and then eat that, and you are nourishing your mind, your heart, your soul, everything, with Krishna consciousness. That is another way of Krishna consciousness. And for example, if you're taking your child to the playground, that time, of course, you can't think of Krishna. It is all right. But while you keep practicing this chanting and then offering food, the two things when you do slowly. And the other thing I would add is, when you're cooking, you can keep some lectures on any Bhagavad Gita lectures, proper from the proper authoritative source, because sometimes in the name of giving classes, anyone could give comments on Bhagavad Gita, and they manipulate and then end up giving you wrong information or misled or incomplete information. We do not want that to happen, and we don't want to take risk either. Our lifetime is not very long, maximum 100 years in Kali Yuga. We don't want to spend time on something that is not authoritative, so therefore we should focus on what is bona fide, authorized source. Then we spend time on listening to such lectures, and that way we can cultivate bhakti, because bhakti sanjayate bhakti. Bhakti is cultivated through bhakti. It's not that bhakti can be cultivated through some other sense gratification, from any kind of sense gratification. So uh, slowly, when you practice this type of listening, hearing is very important. So it's clearing your thoughts, your mind. And when you're hearing, automatically you start to visualize the story. Like when, for example, you're hearing about the pastime of Krishna in Golaka Vrindavan, then you will be imagining. Our mind is designed in that way, that it will always visualize whatever we speak. The first thing it will visualize. When it is visualizing the activities of Krishna, like from, for example, Radharani. Yesterday, last night, I was reading a story to Krishna, I mean Vallabha, about Krishna was breaking the pot of Radharani, the butter pot, the yogurt pot. And naturally, we were visualizing, right, how it would happen. He was, what he was doing. He was climbing the tree. I was reading like he was climbing the tree. Then I was immediately visualizing Krishna is climbing a tree. And I was imagining the nice environment of Vrindavan and everything. So this is natural. This is Krishna consciousness. So, like that, hearing will improve our Krishna consciousness activity. Chanting will also aid in that. And both things will go together, right? Hearing and chanting, you can do that together. Also, when you're cooking for Krishna, you can hear. See, if you do these two activities, right, that is maximum time. You most of the time, what we are doing, cooking and do something else. When you're cooking, if you do that, like almost three part of the day, you will be doing Krishna consciousness. Other part, if you're not doing, it is all right. And then slowly you will include. Before starting the work, you just offer praise to Krishna, chant 1 or 3 times, and then say, Krishna, today's work results or whatever it is today, I work and the results I'm dedicating it to you. Let me do my best. Because we have to be role model for everyone, right, in the society. Even at work also, we need to be the best. Whatever the best we can bring out of ourselves, we should try that. That's all. So to start with, this is what I would suggest, and then slowly we can add on things. Does it answer your question, Aditi?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Number 23. Yadi hi aham na varteyam jatu karmani atandritah mamavatmanuvartante manushyaha partha sarvashah. Translation. For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. So Krishna is telling, he initially said, see, Janaka Maharaj also followed karma yoga. And then look at me, I also followed. Then now he is telling, what if he did not do that? So Krishna always gives you pros and cons like that. So he is now telling you, what if I didn't do it? If I didn't do it, then people are following me, and then if I'm not doing it, people will follow me. That means they will not also do the right things. So therefore, I have to follow the prescribed duty. When Krishna was in Vrindavan, he was like as if he was the son of Nanda Maharaj, who was a Vaishya. So, as per the Vaishya, what are the prescribed duties? Protecting the cows and herding the cows and doing anything related to that not administration, but mercantile activities, the business activities. And Krishna was involved in that. So, he was perfectly doing his prescribed duties. And when he went to Madura, as a as a kshatriya, he didn't go as a kshatriya as such, but he has to act like one, a kshatriya, because of the what his name, Kamsa. He had to kill Kamsa, so he has to act like kshatriya. And of course he is a kshatriya actually. And he behaved like kshatriya by killing his enemy and protecting his citizens, the prajas. So he did his prescribed duties. And when he was in ashram, like when he was in Vrindavan, Yashoda Mata, that is Vatsalya Bhav, she had motherly affection. And he nicely engaged in that duties. Prescribed duties means as a child, he nicely acted like a child, right? He is God. He can behave like anything, but he perfectly behaved in everywhere as per time, place, and circumstances. And he went to Dwaraka. He married to 16,108 queens. And of course, there are very valid reasons why he did marry those queens, because there are most of them were sages from Ramachandra's Leela. They wanted to marry Krishna, but Krishna, like Rama, I mean, and Rama said, I am Egapatni, I'm fasting Egapatni Virat, so I can't marry more than one woman. I'm already married to Shita Mata. Therefore, I can't marry anybody else. Therefore, please come next time when I become Krishna. When I come as Krishna, you can just, I'll protect you. So, in Krishna's Leela, the Baumasura kidnaps all of the ladies, those 16,000 ladies, I believe 16,100, and then he kidnaps them and captures them, and then put them in the dungeon, like jail. Then Krishna goes with Satyabhama, one of the premium queens, and rescue all those queens. And when in olden days, in Vedic days, any woman captured by another man or not is not allowed to marry totally a third person, right? Another man. So either she has to marry the person who captured her. If a woman is in someone's custody, some men's custody, that man has to marry the woman. That's Vedic system. But that man is a rogue. He is a rascal. That means she can't marry that man. So because Krishna is like hero, he protected that ladies. They all said, look, no one could marry us if we go back to the towns, the palaces, wherever we belong to. No one will, no kings would like to marry us because they doubt what happened in the jail. So they doubt our chastity. Therefore you have to marry as Krishna. And then Krishna easily agreed, because this was the plan, right? His original plan was like that from Ramachandra's pastime, Ramlil. So it just continued, that's all. So we need to always look from the outside of the box. We shouldn't think, oh, Krishna is not doing the right thing. He said he is doing the right thing and setting an example to the society. Now look at him, he married to 16,108 queens. Like, even one, more than one wife is itself wrong. This is how come he could marry that. Then now this is the answer. He's only protecting, practically, not practically, but scripturally, and philosophically and everything. Scripturally, spiritually, philosophically, everything. Krishna is the husband of everybody. Whether you're a man or a woman, Krishna is the husband of everyone. He's a Purusha. He's a Parama Purusha. Therefore, we don't have to worry about whether he has been married to 16,000 queens or 16 million queens. We don't have to worry about that. We don't have rights to ask. We don't have qualifications to ask. But regardless, nevertheless, acharyas are more merciful. They have explained it, because our crooked mind will think about all of these factors, right, in different zones. So therefore it has been answered already. At least we can understand, oh, this is why. Okay, we understand. And he is giving that himself as husband to those queens, because they have done so many bhakti activities in previous lives. Sages means not ordinary, right? And therefore they deserve to be queens in the next life, to be born as queens. Okay, and then other thing I wanted to tell is, when he was in Dwaraka, he married to those many queens, right? And he behaved like husband, of course, because he is a husband to these many ladies, and he perfected that role. And he perfected how a husband should be. And when he was a father to Pradyumna, Niruddha, and etc., and he did perform that role also very well. So from that we take that we shouldn't think, oh, he is God, he can do anything better. Yes, of course. So look at him and then follow. That's the thing, right? We shouldn't say, oh, he is a teacher and he knows everything about this particular subject, so he is doing well. How can I do? It means just learn from him and then try and do it, practice it. That's what we do, right? We go to the max teacher or max tuition, and then we learn. And we shouldn't think, oh, you're perfect, how can I be perfect? No, by practicing and following the instructions, we can also become perfect, correct? So that's all we have to do to progress in our spiritual life. And he was perfect in a householder life. So yeah. Sushma, can you read this, please? If you can't read that, you can read a translation only.
Yes, Mataji. I'll try to read the verse.
Okay.
उत् उत्सि उत्सिदेयुर् इमे लोका नाकुर्यं कर्म चेत् अहं सङ्कर्ष्य च कर्तास्यम् उपहन्यम् इम प्रजः. Translation. If I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would therefore destroy the peace of all living beings.
Yeah. So Krishna continues to talk about himself that, okay, if I fail to do that, people follow that. And if I did not perform my prescribed duties, what happened to this world? And he's now talking about the consequences. Then I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. Krishna wanted everyone to be happy and peaceful. Now he does the wrong activities and people would follow that also. Then what happens? It will not only create unwanted population, and also it will destroy the peace of all living entities. So that's Krishna's concern. See, how kind he is. And which verse we are on? 24th verse. Mm. So it's like lawmaker is beyond. Krishna is the lawmaker and he is beyond law, correct? He is everything. He's creator of everything. Not only just the entire universes, multiple unlimited universes, but also he is the creator of the laws and other everything. Animated, inanimated, and everything. So here it says, though Lord Krishna teaches us by performing prescribed duties, we also see that he sometimes acts independent of the law, to please his devotees. Such actions, however, are not to be performed by those inferior to him. See, we shouldn't, sometimes Krishna does activities that we shouldn't imitate or follow. And we should know, because that's why Krishna has given intelligence. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that smrati apohanam cha. What are they? Jnanam, smriti, apohanam cha. The intelligence, memory, and the forgetfulness. These three things I'm giving you. Therefore, we shouldn't be like very proud and say, "Oh, Krishna, you're doing this. I should be doing that also. I am equally as equal as you in this thing." No. So Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, and should we also go lift? No, you don't need to. So things like that, we should use common sense pretty much. So we simply keep it keep it simple by following his instructions from Bhagavad Gita. Don't try to imitate what he did, in the sense that you know what is that you should follow and what you shouldn't copy. Like he married to those many queens. Now these days, even one man can't even marry one lady, and even he can't look after that one lady only. Then why he would need to trouble all other ladies by marrying them, correct? He is not even able to earn that much money, and Krishna was so opulent. And he's still opulent, of course. He is God, right? He gets everything he wants, and he can marry anyone he wants. So we shouldn't think, oh, he's doing, I should also do. No. So there are some disclaimers also given here. So because even Lord Krishna performs prescribed duty, a person who is established in knowledge, jnana, also should work to set right example. One can avoid sinful reactions in such a work by doing it with detachment. So one can avoid sinful reactions in such a work by doing it with detachment. So always, see, Krishna is recommending jnana only, jnana yoga. I mean, sorry, karma yoga. That means, of course, bhakti yoga is the topmost, but to start with, karma yoga is better to start with. And even you're in jnana stage, that means you better do the job. Jnana stage means you have knowledge. That's what it means. So you've studied sastras. You got the point that Krishna is the supreme. I'm servant of the Lord, and I am just servant in the sense you can be in any bhav. Bhav means any bhava, like whether you want to be friends with Krishna, or you want to marry Krishna, or you want to be a parent of Krishna, or you want to be a lover of Krishna. That should be discussed, right? And then friends, what is it, neutral, or servant of Krishna. So like that, there are primary five bhavas that you can pick one according to your mood, and then you can serve Krishna. But usually, to start with, we will pick servant, correct? Because we are not in that level to think ourselves as a wife of Krishna, or lover of Krishna, or mother of Krishna, like that. Because we need to always start humbly, then gradually the true position will be revealed. We never know. If we desire to be mother of Krishna, we could even become mother of Krishna. But we have to practice the mood, the humility, by following in the footsteps of great Mother Yashoda Devi. If you want to have that motherly mood with Krishna, then follow. You can't become mother like that, but if you follow in the mood, like how in Vrindavan there was a Leela, Brahma Vimohana Leela, where all the cowherd boys, one day they were playing, and previously their mothers wanted to have Krishna as their child. They were always longing for that, and whenever Krishna comes back from herding the cows, they look forward to see him, even though with Mother Yashoda also there, but they will be looking forward to seeing Krishna coming back, and they always think about Krishna all day, thinking when will he come back, when will the sun set, so we can see Krishna, he's playing with Krishna, like that. I mean, we can see Krishna, we can cuddle Krishna. So they always were looking forward to seeing Krishna after he left to the forest. When he comes back, they go and cuddle, like hug Krishna, kiss Krishna, and talk to him about how was his day and everything. Even their own sons will be left alone, and they sometimes feel like, "What's going on? Mummy is not caring me." But still, because they also love Krishna, they don't mind only. See, sometimes if you are coming with your loved one, and the other person, your mother-in-law, for example. But these days, everything is quarrelsome in Kali Yuga. So we are becoming jealous and envious and selfish and possessive and everything. But just imagine you have your child with you and your mother or mother-in-law coming and hugging your child and praising, glorifying your child's naughty activities and giving some lot of goodies. What do? You smile and look and yay. You wouldn't say, "Mommy, I am your child. Why are you doing that to to my son? You should do that to me." We don't do that, right? They all look at you. How many things you're giving it to my child? You have never given me that when I was small. Maybe we will make a little complaint, but we don't mind. So, but think about Gopas. They are pure devotees of Krishna, the top class devotees of Krishna, and they are there and seeing mothers, their own mothers serving Krishna. They were not envious or anything. They were actually embracing that, and they wanted, because the mothers wanted Krishna as to be their child. So Krishna made arrangement. So many things will be done, like a lot of action items there in one pastime of Krishna. Lot of action items successfully achieved. That's Krishna. So Lord Brahma became puffed up. So Krishna wanted to teach him a lesson. So that is also covered in that Leela. And then cowherd boys. He wanted to become those cowherd boys so that he can go to all the mothers, cowherd boys' mothers' houses, as if that is their own son, as if he is their own son, and that is also covered. And then lot of things, little things that he has covered in one leela. So when Brahma kidnapped stole all the cowherd boys and the calves and the monkeys, even he became the little monkey and went to his the mother monkey, to satisfy, to please that mother monkey. So that is how Krishna's humility is. That is the degree, extent, or height of humility of Krishna. So like we wouldn't do all of that, right? So we shouldn't imitate those factors. And then he became child of all the mothers, and they became extremely happy. They felt like, "Oh, look at my son, as if I feel like as if it's Krishna himself." So that's how they feel. That is true in that fact, right? Aditi, do you want to read this, please? You can read the translation only.
As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path.
Yeah. See, you can look at person A, person B. Both can be doing the same work, but one person is doing that for the results and attached to the results, and the other person is not. That means he achieves the Krishna consciousness, because he is actually practicing Krishna consciousness in that sense, correct? Because you need to be like, if you are in the mode of ignorance, you can never do these activities. First of all, we have to come to the level of mode of goodness so that we can practice God consciousness. And the God consciousness actually situated in mode of pure goodness, because we can't just come up to mode of pure goodness very easily, because it's really topmost level, and that is not even within material nature, that is outside of material nature. That's why we can't achieve that, because we are still in the material nature, with conditioned by material nature's modes. So we cannot achieve that yet, but definitely we can try and work towards it. Definitely we can achieve that, but for that we have to first elevate ourselves from ignorance, being ignorant. But at the moment we are so much attached to our results, right? We get the money, "Oh, how can I spend the money? Oh, I should do this, I should do that," but we never keep Krishna in the center. We could only add one line like, I'm doing all this Krishna to make sure we are able to continue Krishna consciousness. So we can buy a house and pay for the mortgage, so we can live comfortably, so we can practice Krishna without any financial trouble. You could say that, just adding simple line, but you shouldn't be like a hypocritic or diplomatic and saying things but you're not actually doing things, right? Keeping Krishna in the center means it is literally, practically, not just theoretically. If we enter the house, we can see Krishna in the center, and everything is around, revolving around him, means then we can understand, yes, you're talking and acting on that. Otherwise it's no point just telling only but you're not acting on it. Yeah, just bring the power bank. Sushma, can you please read the translation or verse as well?
So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, also Krishna is giving another warning here to Arjuna that, see, it's good, Arjuna, it's all good. We can do this, detached ourselves from the results and just do the work only, the prescribed duties. But what if someone is not following that? Krishna is saying, don't worry, let them do whatever they wanted to do. Sometimes people are in mode of ignorance. You can't tell them only. It's better to leave them alone. It depends. You should be able to judge. Sometimes judging means discernment. It's not judging, but it's a discernment. It's a very polite word that I've learned. So you should be able to discriminate, to identify. Yes, this person may be able to understand and learn things. So let me teach him, or let me tell him, as per Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes he's totally in ignorance. I can't tell him that, and he's not gonna follow anyway. Then better he let him be attached to his fruitive activities, fruitive results, both, and that's okay. Let him do that. So that's what in this verse it is said, that don't disturb the ignorant. Because they are so much they were so much in the bewilderment, they are bewildered, there's so much in confusion that what is right, what is wrong. Therefore better we just let them do what they're doing. And because it will only agitate their mind, they might not even end up doing the prescribed duties only. Even if prescribed duties itself is a good thing, regulated sense gratification, prescribed duties, these are called varnashram dharma, right? So following varnashram dharma is actually leading one or taking one to God consciousness slowly. Okay, therefore it's okay. So don't agitate them yet. So that's the point that we learn from this verse. So first we need to bring ourselves to the mode of goodness, and then we should try others. But when others are not ready, then we let them do what they are doing. So that is what the verse teaching us. This is very nice verse 27. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudatma karta ahamiti manyate. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Okay, so because we have this false ego, right? We have this false ego saying, I am this body, I am the manager of the company, I am the wife of the house or husband of the house. So bodily designations that we hold on daily basis, depending on where we are. If we are in the house, we have a role. If we are even within the house itself, we are like father, husband, and then son, and so many things, correct? And what to speak of outside, you could be friend or enemy, or employee, or manager, boss, like that, or customer. So we could have more than one role. And when we have that, because of that, we are so confused and we think we are that role, and then we are into that, and we are not thinking we are servant of the Lord end of the day, and whatever the roles are temporary, and we should do it again. I'm telling you that we shouldn't stop doing whatever we are doing, because Krishna himself says that he himself does prescribe duties. Therefore, we shouldn't stop all that. But the thing is, we should understand that we are controlled by this condition. We are conditioned by these three modes of material nature. Therefore, we should elevate ourselves to the higher modes. Correct? And when the souls which are in ignorant position, souls never be in ignorant position, but actually because it is in the body, the contamination happening around us, making us think that the soul, because the soul bewildered, right? Because it is in the body thinking, oh, am I this? Okay, now I have to act like this. So if you are in a Rome, act like a Roman, right? There is a proverb, there is a saying like that. Like that, the soul also act like that. But when what to the height of this kind of bewilderment, soul also sometimes think, because it is in the body, right? It thinks that I am the doer. I am doing everything because of me. Only the success came to the company, and so and so. And we take if anything went wrong in the same company, and he would just back up and say, "No, look, I have nothing to do with that fault or whatever that happened. It's all him or her." Like we do the blame game also. So what happens is we want to be a doer when good things happen, or as a result of good, we are doing something and the result is good, then we want to take the credit. But when there is something opposite, when you do the thing that didn't turn out very well, then you don't want to take the credit, but rather you want to blame someone else. And in even in another scenario where you are at fault, you don't want to take the blame, then you completely ignore and say, I'm not the doer. So it all because of this false ego. It's all because of this false identification. Okay. 28. Tattvavittu mahabaho guna karma vibahayoha guna guneshu vartanta iti matvana sajjate. Translation. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, O mighty arm, does not engage himself in the senses and this and sense gratification, knowing well the differences between work in devotion and work for fruitive results. So verse number 28. So when person is in knowledge, knowledge means the tattva-vid. So the person knows what is absolute truth. Absolute truth means what Krishna is the supreme Lord. That is the absolute truth one should know. When we understand we are his part and parcel, we are fragmental portion. We discussed this analogy that when there is a fire and the fire sparks of the fire is us, and the main fire is Krishna. So the spark is not coming on its own, rather coming from the main fire, the flame, correct? So when we understand that, then we always connected to Krishna. If we think we are separate, we are dependent. We are independent. We are not dependent on anything. We are independent. Then totally we are doomed, right? So when we have that understanding, there is Krishna. He is God. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am part and parcel of Him. Jivera Swarupahoi Krishnera Nityadas. I am always supposed to engage in the service of Krishna, then I'll be happy. Like if the stomach is the one getting the food and supplying the food to all the body parts, and the hand, the leg are working towards it, hand is the one taking the food and putting it in the mouth, and then it's going into the stomach, and then whatever things has to happen, that happen. But if the hands getting proud that, oh, I did that, without me nothing would happen, or if the legs think that way, and then hand want to take the credit, and I think the arms think that I am the one doing it. Let me do it, and let me be the boss. These are the false egoistic thoughts which we also go through sometimes, right? We think we are independent, and we don't have to rely on anybody. There is no God. Even if we think there is God, we think, oh, we have to do our duty. God will not come help. Of course, God will help. Everything is being helped by God only. It's not that you get the job on your own. We think everything is happening by an accident or happening by chance. No way. Everything is happening as per how it's supposed to happen. Nothing is like happened just because this is what Krishna wanted. Of course, Krishna wanted to change anything. Of course, he can change anything, but everything is going as per his plan only. Okay, and if we submit ourselves to Krishna, what happens is the miracles happen. And then Krishna automatically, even if he has to change our karma reaction, he will change it. Of course, he changes for his devotees, that we see and hear from time to time in devotees circle. It's not that you have to check the sastras 5,000 years ago or 500 years ago for those case study. Even today's date also we do see those examples. Correct? All right. I'll stop here. And so we have covered verses 20 to 28, and we have learned from Krishna about don't think you are the doer, but do your prescribed duties and come to the level of goodness, mode of goodness. And if anyone is in mode of ignorance, just ignore them pretty much, because they are very ignorant and you can't change them. Don't agitate their minds. Better you focus on yourself first. So these are the some takeaways that we can take from these 20 to 28 verses, 8 verses or 9 verses studied so far. So from next week we will continue 29th onwards. So I think, let me see how many verses are there in chapter 3. So 43 verses totally. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So if no questions, I'll stop here. Thank you very much. See you next week.
Hari Bol
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.